Hey everybody, Larry Lawton here. I got a good video for you today. I almost hate to say it's a good video. It's a very eye-opening video, and I think the story needs to be told. And it's about a kid that killed 6 people traveling 151 miles per hour. Before I get started, please check me out on YouTube, member programs, Patreon. Check us out on Discord, is going great. Remember, we got a cigar launch coming September 1st. We also have the podcast, The Real Deal with Larry Lawton. We have some great guests, and we're gonna have a lot more. Check out our merch. Gangster Redemption, great stuff, book stuff, all that kind of stuff. You know, it's all going well. But this case here now I wanna talk about is an eye-opener. It's a case that happened in actually January. They charged the person in April, and I just did an update. Case is still going on, and I don't know where I stand on it. I know where I stand on it because I think the kid is stupid, but I don't know how much time he's gonna get doing what he did. Let me give you the whole rundown of this stuff, and here is a video I want you to watch a little bit.
Noah Galley, a teenager, was behind the wheel of a BMW speeding at 151 miles per hour when he rear-ended an SUV carrying 6 farm workers.
Driver Noah Galley was 17 at the time of the crash. He'll be arraigned in juvenile court. But a spokesman for the Palm Beach County State Attorney's Office tells Contact 5 the office expects to charge Galley as an adult.
151 miles per hour. There were no brake marks, so this kid actually hit a car, rear-ended, must have rear-ended, or maybe the car was making a turn, I didn't get that part of it, and killed 6 people in Delray Beach, Florida. Listen to this. This is not even a highway. This is like a, I won't say a service road, but it's a pretty busy road. Obviously, it's not a highway. It's not like 95. This kid was traveling at a BMW M5, 17 years old, and he kills 6 workers, 5 at the scene and 1 in the hospital. Now, I don't know what's going through this kid's head. I'm sure it is. I hope it's remorse to the biggest degree. I don't know exactly what is going to happen, but I'm going to give you my views of what could happen and what should happen, and maybe just my opinion on what we need to do to stop this kind of stuff. Listen, I'm a fast driver. I get it. But to be going 151 miles an hour, and I know kids do it. Listen, this is another fact of this case. When they did the investigation in this case, and let me tell you what happened. They got this kid's social media account. Of course, they can do everything. He was putting up $25 on a Cash App. He would give anyone $25 on a Cash App if they could guess what speed he was traveling at. And so obviously this kid's a speed junkie. And you know, I know a lot of young people are like this. Listen, I was like this, so that's why I'm not gonna sit here and make this kid out to be the devil. He's not. This kid made some bad choices, and I wear a shirt about that. You know, I don't believe in bad people. I believe in bad choices. This is the ultimate bad choice. Obviously, it resulted in 6 dead people. This happened in Delray Beach, Florida, on a road called 441. I'm torn because, listen, when they ran through this kid's social media, here's what's going to happen if you're a young person. If you do any crime, I don't care what it is, and they get a warrant to look through your social media. There's so much trackable today. First of all, you're not gonna get away with any crimes. Those days are over. They had him, and there's a social media post of going 182 miles an hour on I-95. 182 miles an hour. Now, I often talk about when I was younger, I ended up doing 150 miles an hour on what they call Alligator Alley in Florida, running from a cop just for a ticket, and that wasn't anything else. And I never got caught. And it was an adrenaline rush. But I'll tell you what I never forget. And I always say it, I'll never forget. And it's true. I remember passing cars on that road, and I was in my Corvette at the time, and I was passing cars like they were standing still. If anybody even jerked their wheel and went over, I'm pieces. I mean, you know, you're in pieces. Obviously, this kid didn't die going 151 miles an hour. It's really amazing because I don't know how they ended up arresting him 2 months later. This happened in January. They ended up arresting him in April. So 3 were January, February, March, April, 2.5 months later. And they charged him with 6 counts of vehicular homicide. Now, this kid's going to prison. I don't know how long, but he's going to prison. This is what kind of like I won't say gives me, how do I say this, guys? I don't want to see this kid's life ruined. I mean, I know 6 lives were lost, and I know people are gonna write about that. But you know, once an incident happens, it can't be taken back. Once there is a death, it can't be taken back. When I caused damage by robbing people and putting fear into them, doing everything I did, I didn't kill anybody, but I did cause trauma. There has to be consequences for that. Obviously, I paid my consequences. There's no question about that. We're not living in an eye for an eye situation in anything in life. You know, should you cut my hands off? I mean, I'm sure there's people going to write in the comments, yes, Larry, you should have got your hands cut off. Believe me, I get some comments like that. Most of the comments are for rehabilitation and let's help people and let's open people's eyes and everything else that we're going to do. Listen, 151 miles an hour at impact. Now, how many young people out there right now, how many people watching this video have did 150 miles an hour in a car? I'll bet there's a lot, to be honest. I will bet there's a lot of young people who are into racing. Listen, I have good friends of mine who are into street racing, and they'll how they do street racing is they'll go out at 11, 12, 1 at night, a whole group of people, and then they have what they call a running start, where 2 cars will get on 90. They'll wait until the last truck goes. Then they'll have a couple of cars behind going really slow to make sure nobody can come up. But obviously, once these cars get on the road, they'll start out at 30 miles an hour, give the nod, give the dough, and they'll both hit the gas. And they go until one just beats the other and they know they can beat him and that's it. And you win the money, you do whatever it is. And I've heard stories of them going up in excess of 170 miles an hour. That's what I've heard. You know, there's a couple guys there that, you know, I want to go to one of them because, listen, I love racing. But it's so dangerous and people's lives are at stake, and I don't want to be around that because, you know, I get it, but I don't want to, you know, be a part of something that happens to these young people, and then before you know it, somebody's dead. Now, they know the risks, but they take the risks. You know, I give them that. Hey, listen, I'm not here to tell a person how to do things or what to do. I really don't. I think that nobody should do that. Once you hit a certain age, you got to make your own choices, good or bad. Now, I hope you take advice from an old guy like me and realize, wait a minute, what am I doing? You know, I love to have fun. I believe in having fun. And I know these kids, you know, they put stuff on their car from nitrogen to stuff to make these cars mega fast. Now, there's a place to do that. There are tracks that do that. You know, you all pool your money together and you can, you know, rent the track and do it the right way. There's nobody around. And I know a person who works on my Mercedes, this kid named Vlad. I mean, these guys are doing it professionally, but they're doing it safe. In fact, the young guy, Vlad, who they work on my cars, not just him, his family. I know their family, a great family, good people. And he went to my program. And, you know, he was a young kid. And I think it was something with cars too. But at least he learned. He's not out street racing. Now, all you street racers out there, don't look at me like I'm vilifying, because I'm not. Not even a little bit. In fact, I get it. I totally get it. And I'm the biggest risk taker there is in the world. You know that. Everybody who knows me knows how much of a risk taker I was. And am, to be honest with you. But I take risks that are only going to affect me. I take risks now. If I do something, I'm not gonna hurt others. Do I drive sometimes fast? Yes, I do. I can't even deny that. Do I get a ticket going to 85? Maybe. I never got one. But can I? Yes. I mean, obviously, I'm no angel, and I always say that. This guy you're looking at right now still is not an angel, and I just wanna express that I don't judge this young man. I feel so much for the victims, and I want to get that through here. I don't want anybody out there to think that I'm thinking, oh, we're gonna forget the victims. I don't do that. That is not Larry Lawton. Larry Lawton cares about people, and Larry Lawton cares about young people and the future of this country and the future of this world, to be honest with you. I don't look at any other country worse or in a bad way or a good way worse than my own country. I love my country, but we have our flaws. I talk about them all the time. I still believe that people need second chances. I don't believe this young man should be put away for life in prison. And I hope he doesn't go to life in prison. He's gonna have consequences. There's gonna be serious consequences to this case. But when they give consequences, they have to realize they're never ever gonna get the people back. You can give this guy 6 life sentences. That's not gonna bring the people back. The people are lost. Now, do you believe in your heart that he did this maliciously on purpose? I don't. Do I think it was a bad choice? Absolutely. Do I think it was reckless and stupid and caused the death of 6 people? Absolutely. But at what point are we into the retribution game and not into the rehabilitation game, or the love game, or the forgiveness game? You know, it took me a long time, and this people ask me all the time. When I was tortured in prison, and boy, look, I get goosebumps to this day. When I was tortured in prison, it makes my fucking skin crawl. I was tortured, and if people didn't know this, they could look at the Gangster Redemption book series. It's in the playlist. Please go check out that series. It's one of the best series on YouTube. And I'm not just saying that. That's this book that I narrate, so there's other stories. Anyway, in that book, in that series, I talk about me being strapped down naked, beaten, and tortured by guards in prison. I think often about that, and you know, it took me 5 years before I said I wouldn't kill them. I mean that. It took me 5 years. For 5 years, I was planning their murder. And I mean it. It wasn't a pretty thing. My brain and my body and my soul was consumed with just figuring out how, when I got out, how to kill these people, how to torture them. I actually said to myself, I can't do this. Now, I'm being honest, I did not forgive him, and I won't forgive him. People say, oh, you gotta forgive. No, you don't have to forgive. I had to come to grips with. I look at this like their life is so fucked up that they had to torture a man who was in the worst time of his life. How sad is your life if you gotta torture a man who's in the worst time of his life? You must be going home to the worst life in the world. I don't know if karma is gonna hit him. I believe in karma, I really do. I'm not a believer in, people who know me. I'm very logical, I can say, or very analytical. But it took me 5 years to say, okay, I gotta put it behind me. I gotta understand it, and then I have to get it out of my head. And the reason I did that, everybody, and I want you to do something like this when any bad things happen, you can't live with that because it's only affecting you. It's only affecting your insides. When you let somebody else's action dictate how your future is or dictate how you're gonna feel, he keeps victimizing you for the rest of your life. And if not for this YouTube channel, I wouldn't even be talking about it. If not for my book that people have read, I wouldn't talk about it. But I'm an educator, and I want to educate young people on fixing their lives and doing the things you don't have to do. I am a big believer in that, and I think everybody knows that. So I take and use all the bad things that happen to me, and that goes for the abuse. It took me 30 years to come out with abuse, so I understand why people don't come out with abuse and stuff that happened to them when they were a young child or a young person. I was 11 years old, and that's in my book. But it took my writer and my partner, Peter Golenbach, who's my co-writer, took me 2 years to write this book. 2 years to write Gangster Redemption. And there's things in there that people never knew. Psychologists, certain people knew, and they often say this is where you went astray, Larry. But I let things affect me in the wrong ways. Now I try to use everything that's happened to me as an educational tool. That's why when I ever hear about something happen to a young man, whether he's arrested or he goes to jail or this incident, I want you guys to realize, listen, make it an educational situation. You know, everything that happens to us should be a learning lesson. Now, if you keep repeating the same mistake, you know what? Well, then you're an idiot, you know, and you're a person who maybe never learns and needs different kinds of consequences. I'm a believer in try things, do them, make mistakes. Don't keep making the same mistake twice. Learn from every mistake. That's all you have to do in life. And you know, if you're a parent out there and you have a kid that's doing stuff, don't look at him like he's a bad kid. That's not a bad thing. Now, if he keeps making the same mistake, you better check him, obviously. But in this incident with me, it took me many, many years to take that hate out of me. And now I'm so at peace and I live a good life and I enjoy myself and I try new things and I try to help people. I don't live a crazy life. I mean, I do, but meaning I'm a work life. I literally put a lot of time and effort in what I do right here and in the podcast and everything I do. I try to open other people's eyes so they don't have to go through the stuff that I went through. Because as you know, when I talk about it all the time on my channels, both channels, our prison system's broke. And it's probably one of the biggest black marks on the United States of America. It's the prison system. And when they want to fix it, maybe somebody's going to give me a call because we can fix it. And I talked about it on a podcast. In fact, I just talked about it in yesterday's podcast. So I want everybody here to try to live their life the best they can. But getting back to the situation with these young men, this young man who killed the 6 people, he's going to probably take a plea deal, and it's going to be for X amount of time. I just hope it's not so much time that we ruin another life. And I know the state attorney down there is a fair man. I know the state attorney does the right thing. He's an educated man, very compassionate man. His name is Dave Arenberg. I know him well. It's just a situation that he has to weigh, and I guarantee this is weighing on him in a big way because there's no easy answer. There's really no easy answer. And that's hard. That's really hard in today's world. So I hope Dave makes a good choice and they give this kid a sentence that's fair. That's what I could say. And I know how you justify fair. One side will say he needs to be in life prison. There are people there that wanted him not to have bail. That's not America. That's not anywhere. Listen, he's not a threat to the community. They put him on house arrest, took his license away, did everything like that. This young man is not a serial killer and he's not a threat. There's only 2 reasons you don't get bail, and that's you're a threat to the community or you're a flight risk. And neither of this was that kid. Everybody deserves bail, and he got bail, and it was a lot of bail. It was $300,000. Obviously, his family put it up. He was 17 years old when this happened. He's now 18. So his name is Noah Gale, Gale, Noah. And if you want to look him up, you can look a lot about this case. Take heed. And if you're a young person out there and you're in racing or you're driving fast, I want you to really think hard and fast, about what could happen and where you would be. And if you have an older guy, and I know some who have young kids, think about what you're doing, because it could be you that's going to jail. And do you want to lose your family over that? I mean, this kid is 17, and I hope they take that into consideration and they give him a sentence that's commensurate with his level of choice-making ability. We all know the brain doesn't mature till 25 for a male and 23 for a female. Well, he made some bad choices. We know that. But let's not ruin his life over it. But let's hold people accountable. Let's make a lesson out of this. Maybe I'll help them do something, whatever they want to do. But with that said, everybody, I want you to make good choices. You know that. This was a little bit a tough one to talk about, but I had to do it because a lot of people ask me, what do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? For the final thought, I've been pretty correct on most of these things. I think he's going to get a sentence of about 6 years with a lot of extra stuff, because he's a juvenile offender. Maybe they're going to put him under a youthful offender. Although his charge is an adult, they could put it under what they call a youthful offender, which goes from, I think, up to 6 years. I mean, I think he'd get the max there. Now they could give him that 6 years 6 times and run it consecutive, which I hope they don't do. I hope they give him the 6 years, and I think by the time he's 25, he's gonna get out and, think about a lot of things in a hard way. And that I think, and I hope that 6 years doesn't kill him, because that's a situation I don't want. Anyway, again, my thoughts, prayers, if you want to call them. I'm not a big prayer, you know that, people, but are with the families of the dead people, obviously. And there's so many victims involved in here. People don't know that, and more than what's on paper. But have a good day, everybody. Please think before you act. If you're a young man, put this video in your head. Think before you do something really stupid. 151 miles an hour is not a small move. Have a great day, everybody. Please, please stay safe. Thank you for being a subscriber. And if you're not, please subscribe. Pass these videos on. And we'll see you next time. Have a great day.